The Kickoff Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to the Kickoff Sports Breakfast Show on Beach FM 106.3, and he had a weekend off last weekend, but let's welcome back from the Horowhenua Kapiti Rugby Union, it's Cam Prouting. G'day, Cam.
G'day, Damien.
How are we doing, my friend, as we get closer and closer to return to play?
Yeah, very well. We've made lots of progressions. We have come a long way, both in the rugby space and as a country, and we're only getting closer to that June 13, where our preseason games can happen. It's only a couple of weeks away, so yeah, not too far away from some actual club footy.
Yeah, it's been a strange old time, but I thank whoever for being a Kiwi, mate, and being in the best country in the world.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think we've had a week with no new cases and only one active case or something. So yeah, look, it's fantastic, and we do live in a great country, and we're probably going to be one of the first to have rugby union back playing in the community. So yeah, look, it's massive, and like I say, the progressions we've made, it's really great.
This weekend we do see some sports return to play. Do you think with the higher level, higher numbers that were allowed in public events, do you think this is going to be a good test of how far we've come?
Yeah, definitely. And I think what will be the real test of seeing how we've moved is social distancing, and if you're in a crowd of 100, not mixing and mingling too close, staying a metre or two away from everyone. But yeah, like you say, it is going to show a lot about us, and how serious we take these things. A lot of people will probably look at it as if, COVID won't happen to me, but as soon as we start to relax, that's when it can come around and bite us.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So what have you had to put much things in place to make sure that people are adhering to the restrictions, and more importantly, how is the contact tracing levels going? Yeah,
so we've been working with NZR and Sport New Zealand, and the government have been working with those big groups as well around some guidelines for our clubs around their trainings, their club rooms and their changing rooms. So just having certain measures in place, things like the contact tracing, what each club's going to do around that. Water bottles, so not sharing water bottles. And I know it is a little bit ironic that, you go onto a field and you're in small scrums and you're sweating all over each other, but then you can't share a water bottle. So, these are just the guidelines that have been passed down to us through Sport New Zealand and New Zealand Rugby. And look, all of our clubs have been pretty receptive of it. They understand that HKRFU aren't just making up these rules and these guidelines, and they are nationwide to keep us safe. There's a lot of there's a lot of people in rugby who don't have the best health. A lot of groups, so it's about managing them as well, so that when they go home or they leave rugby, they're in a healthy state as well. So yeah, look, we've been working with them around those guidelines, each club individually, and yeah, they've been really good about it. So look, as we progress through level 2 and hopefully into level 1, there'll be a bit more around that. In terms of the contact tracing, so we've got a number of options. Firstly, there's no real hard rules around contact tracing in the sport, so there's just got to be something in place. So whether it's an online QR code through your smartphones, whether it's a contact register template or form, pre-populated registration lists, things like that. We're working individually with each club around how that looks. And so, yeah, look, everyone's going to have something in place, and these guys are all volunteers as well, so we've got to work around what works best for them and their players. I look at it, NZR and Sporty have been pushing this IDME app. But if we look at a lot of our club players, then not all of them actually take their phones to training. So there's a barrier there. So I guess working with each of them, how that looks, is pretty key. And yeah, like I said before, they've been pretty receptive of it.
Awesome. Well, we are just a few weeks away. How does preseason look? Are they going to have a few games hit out before they're supposed to be match fit for the 20th?
Yeah, so what I confirmed Wednesday night at our club's meeting, or our rugby committee meeting, was that June 13 would be a pre-season game. So we're just working around at the moment whether that's fully internal or whether clubs are able to go to Manawatu, Wellington to look for fixtures. And then we're going to be starting June both our premiers and our senior reserves. So yeah, look, not too far away, Damien. 3 weeks until the first competition game, so it's going to come around pretty quickly.
Indeed, mate. Hey, I know I can't wait to get back out there and coach the Littleies. What's the return to play for the juniors, and what kind of work have you been doing with development still as we get closer to this season?
Yeah, so our junior start dates still to be confirmed.
Right.
I think that the junior clubs have a meeting. Our junior committee has a meeting this coming Wednesday to decide that. So just this week we've found out with Manawatu and Wellington's junior start date. That obviously affects our Horowhenua and Waikanae clubs who play a lot of their Saturday morning rugby in Wellington. So we're possibly looking at a term 3, but at the end of the day, it's up to our clubs Wednesday night at that junior meeting. They're going to be working with their volunteers at each club around what works best for them, whether they feel as a club that they're going to be in a good enough position to manage a lot of those guidelines around the COVID.
Awesome stuff, mate. And what else have you guys been working on as at HK Rugby Union?
Yeah, so just yesterday launched this new initiative. It's called Scrum School. So it's basically a front row academy for our 14 to early mid-20s, our aspiring players in our union in the front row. So it's going to be helping them develop their technique and safe technique. There's going to be stuff around leadership, just developing them as both a scrummager and an individual so that they can go back to their team and help out there as well. Looking coaches in for that, and the Hurricanes have been really good so far offering their assistance. And yeah, we're going to be meeting sort of every second Wednesday during the season, and then once a month out of season. So that's a great opportunity for players. I encourage them to apply. The link to apply is up on our Facebook page. So hoping to kick that off in July. So that's one of the big things at the moment, as well as just making sure our clubs are all feeling supported and have these structures in place around COVID. So those are a couple of big things just got on at the moment.
Outstanding stuff, Cam. And lastly, mate, you did mention Hurricanes in there, so I'm going to jump on this. This week, we're talking to the halfbacks. We had some big numbers in the forwards over the last few weeks, but we're in the backs now. We've got Jason Spice today and Jamie Booth, two big talkers. Is it too early to get Bowden as my former first 5 next week?
Yeah, might be a bit too soon.
Too soon. Right.
Pull on a few hearts there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I might go for father and son, the best ships, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, very good, mate. Yeah.
Well, I always appreciate your time, Cam. Go well over the next weekend, mate, and we'll get closer and we'll have some results soon and stuff. So go well, mate. Thanks for sticking by me through the last few weeks to talk rugby, mate. And soon we're out there.
Cool. Cheers, Damien.